This NFL Playoff Futures edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Draft now or play Underdogs Pick'em for a chance to win 100x. Promo code SGPN Underdog Fantasy for 100% deposit match. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. We're also brought to you by Cut. Cut is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's US based and legal in 40 states. Head to cut.com, that's KUTT.com, and use promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. We're also brought to you by the SGPN NFL Playoff Challenge, sponsored by Edge Boost. Free to enter and $20,000 in Edge Boost credit up for grabs. Enter today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NFL playoff.
This is Randy Cross. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Cox.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, second the money green, with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog.
Get me my mask, Sean.
Which mask? We have a
Snorkel
dog
mask.
Oh, a snorkel mask.
Because I saw some colorful fishes in the ocean today. Hey, assholes, you shouldn't start talking college basketball until March. Okay.
There's Ryan snorkeling. Yeah, we went 4-2.
Is that the sound of me snorkeling?
4-2 on their consensus plays. It's also, I don't know. I do know the guy who started Girls Gone Wild, I think, is in jail for a long time. So I'm pretty sure we can use this sound without hearing from their attorneys. I think they got their hands full. So
No one owns this anymore. It's public domain.
I don't know. Maybe they ripped it off. Who knows? We'll see if we hear from any attorneys. Ryan, we got an awesome show for you. Just to say, NFL betting. There's so many different markets to get into over on DraftKings. Of course, promo code SGP. That why not add in a whole episode? We will be doing a props episode. We will be obviously doing a picks episode, but why not add a NFL playoff futures episode as well? Give people that extra bonus.
Yeah, pulling back we were gonna do a college football way too early episode, and Sean said absolutely fucking not.
Yes,
no one gives a shit.
No, I mean, people. There's it's 6 other months we can talk.
Colby, get the fuck out of here.
College football. We have Super Wild Card Weekend right around the corner, Ryan. And well, yeah, this feels like fitting music for the announcement that we got.
Dumbass college football doesn't have Super Wild Card Weekend.
No, we have SGPN, the playoff challenge just announced. Edge Boost is sponsoring it. Shout out to Edge Boost, the first bet now, play later provider that enables you to double your bet at any sportsbook or DFS site with no interest. The contest is bankroll style. You start with 10,000 virtual dollars, units, whatever you want to call it. And then, much like a sports book, you're making these virtual plays. Whoever ends up with the most dollars, units at the end of the contest wins. It goes from now until the Super Bowl. Top 3 get a deposit match from Edge up to $2,500 with no interest or fees. Top 25 get a deposit match from Edge up to $500 with no interest or fees. Again, completely free. Up to 20 grand in deposit match from Edge. All you got to do to sign up, head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NFL playoff to enter. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/NFL playoff. I've never heard the end of the song, Ryan. It really goes on for a little while there.
The tin drums really, they make you smile.
And the chat is lit. Of course, Noah B in here from the College Basketball Experience and Dick Puncher. Shout out to them. And the Michigan Wolverines, co-champs with the Florida State Seminoles in college football. We are trying to get that going, Ryan. We'll see. We'll see if that sticks.
Dick Puncher was unhappy with the use of Jordan Love on the cover photo. Apparently,
oh, he doesn't. He's Dick Puncher saying, "Can we talk about how y'all baited me using Jordan Love in the best ball episode thumbnail, and then nobody drafted him once?"
Sorry.
Yes, that is a good point. Although I do stay tuned for the DFS episode, Ryan. I think he's very interesting in DFS, especially because you can stack some of his receivers pretty cheap. And certainly going up against that Cowboys defense, which has its moments, but I think, Aaron Jones breakout game, get him going in the passing game, like the guys you can stack with Jordan Love are pretty cheap. Dude, I've been grinding. And these, we'll get to these. Let's just do it now. We also have a special guest. So much action. It is the NFL, and of course, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL playoffs, bringing you an offer that'll help make the playoffs electrifying. New customers can bet $5 on any game, get $200 instantly in bonus bets. I was just mentioning, of course, the Packers and the Dallas Cowboys right now over on DraftKings Sportsbook. The Dallas Cowboys 7.5 point favorites -105. Green Bay Packers. Do you believe in miracles? Plus 295 on the money line. Oh, that would be an amazing upset. Something pretty sweet to parlay in. Of course, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use code SGP. New customers can bet just $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code SGP. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net and your call 878-7-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in Connecticut. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-798-77 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus. Age varies on jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 160 days after issuance. Hours after issuance. See DKNG/football for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. All right, joining us on the line, you know him, you love him, from the NFL Gambling Podcast and our sister college basketball show, Ryan. That's what we got to start calling.
What do you mean?
The college basketball experience, because we're the originators. We're dominating.
Our sisters from the TCE channel.
Yeah, they have sister schools. That's our sister show, the college basketball experience. Money line Mac himself. What's happening, Mac?
Oh, nothing much. Number 1 and number 2 go down in college basketball, and
wild night.
I see some familiar faces. A little bit of a TCE crowd. I brought the cold over. Here we go. We're going on right after you guys.
Yes, you are bringing the
Does
chat.
Colby put out talking points for his people?
It does have a cult like vibe. I'm worried one day Colby's gonna be promoting some Kool-Aid drinking activities, and next thing you know, the entire college basketball guys will be. Colby is the prophet. He's going to take them on some sort of spaceship. It was a wild night, and I
see some of our people are here. We did everyone bring their bread and wine? We shall be together, killing ourselves as we go through these 135 basketball games, and let there be light. So
yes, little wiring issue.
I had to say something nice to the TCE people.
Ryan versus the landlord on our a light wiring.
What do you
issue.
mean, Ryan versus the landlord?
It's an all-time great rivalry. I also
wait. You don't like power reliably?
I do, Ryan.
This is a first world fucking country.
Also, my other favorite rivalry now is if you ever got the pleasure of working in an office with Ryan, sometimes telemarketers will make the mistake rather of calling Ryan, and he's like, "Hello."
Well, first of all, my phone didn't give me the proper potential spam screen.
No, he picks up. You right away, it's spam. He's like, "Yeah, okay. Well, I can buy power from somewhere else." All right. What's this all about? Okay. I already have solar panels. No, I'm not giving you my info. You're trying to harvest my info for free. You open your database and you write, "Do not contact." You write that this man has already been sold solar panels. You're writing that now? You don't get to harvest any of my data. Thank you. He kept yelling, "You're not harvesting my data for free."
I one time said, "You're not harvesting my data for free."
All right.
One time.
It was just a funny thing to say. Feel
free to use that. It really trips them up. They're like, "Wait a second, I'm harvesting your data." They don't realize they're evil until you let them know. I treat them all like children. Anyway, yeah. Epic college basketball night. The Snorkelers win.
Snorkelers win. But Ryan, we got the scuba tanks out. We're going deep. The markets for the NFL playoff futures are pretty fun. Now we're looking at some of these, most passing yards, most rushing yards, most receiving yards, most rushing touchdowns, and most receiving touchdowns.
Do we want to quickly make an official statement on the? I don't know. There's been some traction in the old gambling social verse about these first and anytime touchdowns that DK is offering.
Oh.
Sean and I have not fully explored them yet. They don't appear like something I'll be dabbling in right now, but they are available if you're into that kind of thing.
I mean, it is. I'm a man who loves first touchdown bets, but I even said to Kramer to offer Super Bowl first touchdown bets right now. Come on.
And unlike a typical first touchdown, everyone's action.
Yeah. So
full action on every player.
So if the guys don't get to the game, you don't get action on it. So if you are going to bet the market, think of it as you're parlaying not only this team that the player's on to win the conference championship, but you're parlaying that with the first touchdown bet. Now, if that price that they're offering is better than what you think that price would be, then okay, that makes sense.
Well, you can calculate it. And if I'm not in your proximity to calculate it for you, you
reach out to Ryan.
Find the internet.
You can DM him your calculations, but especially, and we're also going to talk Super Bowl MVP. Super Bowl MVP, them offering it now, I think, is a really cool market to hop in because there is a strong correlation between Super Bowl MVP and it being the quarterback. Or, we'll talk about some of the other teams where the other guy, the other big name player. Even like San Francisco, there are other guys that actually would have a chance, I think, to win it if that team wins. And then there, I actually do think there is some value on that. So, and same with these, like rushing leaders, yardage wise, passing receiver yardage wise. It was interesting going back and looking at some of these. I mean, some of them have crazy variants, like the rushing touchdowns. Jalen Hurts had the most rushing touchdowns last year. Now he played 3 games, but then there was a bunch of, because he had 5, he had 3 in the Super Bowl. It was crazy. And then there was a bunch of people that had 2 rushing touchdowns, like Boston Scott had 2 rushing touchdowns. So there are, I think some of these crazier long shots have a chance because you could probably win this with 3 rushing touchdowns, 4, depending on that year.
If you expand that, last year, 6 people had double-digit touchdowns. 3 of them were members of the Eagles or more. Sorry, 2 touchdowns or more. The other one was a Chief who was in the Super Bowl, but then it was Austin Eckler who only rushed for 35 yards but had two rushing touchdowns. And Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, Barkley was in the mix.
So again, I think the perspective for these markets is like, work through the path, but also you don't need 4 games. You might not even need 3 games.
And yeah, to your point, Ryan, like last year with the passing yardage leader, Joe Burrow, even though the Chiefs beat the Bengals and the Chiefs played in a kind of a shootout game in the Super Bowl, Joe Burrow ended up having more passing yards than Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen got 3rd place in passing yards, even though he only played 2 games, which is crazy because you think Jalen Hurts, all right, yeah, their offense wasn't as electric as the Bills, but he played an extra game and Allen beat him in passing yards. So it's kind of like when we're doing these best balls where it's like how many games are they going to play? What does their path look like? I mean, Josh Allen's interesting, but again, I don't know if I'm playing in passing yards because that first game in Buffalo, or even Mahomes is interesting because that first game at home it's supposed to be 9 degrees. So how effective are they going to be throwing the football there? I don't know. There's a lot to get to. Let's just start rattling off some picks and kind of talking out strategy there. Mac, we'll let you go first. I think the way I did it, let's give out one kind of chalkier, less long shot, and then fire on some long shots. So what do you like here for most passing yards for the 2023 NFL playoffs?
Yeah, you guys make good points. Like for the 1 seed, you're going to play 1 less game because you get the bye. So you're kind of looking for a team that you think is going to go on a run from the divisional matchup because you could have a 4th game. So my chalky one will be Josh Allen, 5-1, the guy that's riding in the hottest, obviously the sexiest name. So I'll go Josh Allen. Do you want me to give out my long shot right now, or do you guys want to give out your? For my long shot, I mean, I'll go with the guy that's been there, done that. They were hot down the stretch. He rested last week. Carson Wentz got him back to Detroit. You know he's going to play well this weekend. He's going to be in a dome while these other guys are going to be outside in 10 degrees. Give me Matt Stafford 22-1.
Love it. Yeah, I'll pick up right from there. I also have Matt Stafford as my long shot again, 22-1. Like early on in the season, those first couple games they lit it up, but then there was Kupp was dealing with injuries. The offense was out of sync, but they went on that 9-1 run. Their only loss, of course, was to the Ravens by 6 points in overtime with a punt return where there was maybe a couple of illegal blocks in the back.
Yeah,
but love him at 22-1. And for your point, like that first game very well could be a shootout. It's in a dome. There's a decent chance they end up playing the Dallas Cowboys at some point. I love the matchup of Kupp and Nakua against those. The Cowboys struggle with outside receivers. I think there's opportunity there. And as we know, Dallas sucks. So Stafford to me is a guy who could win this with just 3 games. And coming out of that wild card spot is pretty interesting. Now my chalk play, this is crazy that this is chalk. It's not quite as short of odds as Josh Allen, but hear me out on Joe Flacco at 12-1. First off, I mean, did you see what they did to Houston the last time they played them?
They had a good game.
They destroyed them. Now Houston is getting some of their guys back.
There's a lot of big plays.
Yeah. But also with Joe Flacco, there's been insane passing volume. These are the number of attempts since he came back from the dead. 44 passing attempts, 45, 44, 42. And then against the Jets, he only threw the ball 29 times. Like they didn't really need to in the second half. He still had 309 passing yards. His worst passing performance in 5 games, 250 yards. Every other game he threw for over 300 yards. So at 12-1, again, that first game is in a dome. You think of the other games happening that super wild card weekend, he could get out to a nice lead. They are favorites. So if you like them to win at least that first game, it could get interesting. So yeah, Flacco 12-1. I love it because of the volume. And then also coming back to the idea of like, they'll probably be dogs in round 2, which means they're going to be maybe playing from behind, even throwing more. Joe Flacco 12-1, most passing yards.
All right. So I put a lot of thought into this. Well,
it's not like you'd overthink something.
Because we've been thinking about the I've been thinking about the FFPC lineups, best ball.
They're all kind of somewhat similar.
And like the high level thesis is I don't like the AFC for this market. Here's why. I think you're right to highlight this game as if I'm going to pair some guys. I don't mind taking Flacco and Stroud. Both play a dome game. Could be a nice head start. When I look around the rest of the conference, okay, so where are they going next? Maybe they're going to Baltimore to play an all-world defense and some elements, or they're going to Kansas City at some point, or they're going outside. They're Buffalo. I just don't like where they might have to go. Maybe you rely on some positive game script or negative game script to drive them there. So I don't hate it, but I thought Flacco's price would have been a little juicier. If I'm being completely honest. And so my thought with this market was I wanted to pair a matchup from the first round, and I wanted to pair a matchup. And again, the reason I like the NFC is you think about the teams that you will have to face as you proceed in the NFC. Well, my example, I'm with you. I think you guys are right to identify Stafford as a great long shot at 22-1, but I'm going to pair him with Jared Goff at plus 750. Jared Goff finished fair. I mean, you look at the season yardage. Jared Goff, he's up there. They're going to be playing at least 2 games in a dome. You say, well, wait, Ryan, they're only playing 1 game at home because they got the 3 seed. Well, they go to Dallas. That's another dome.
Yeah.
And after that, maybe they play San Francisco, a team that it has allowed you to throw for yards against them. And so again, when I look at the NFC, and whatever other teams you sprinkle in there, whether it's Tampa or Philly, they all suck against the pass, and they're all vulnerable to being thrown against. So I think by taking Stafford at 22-1, by taking Goff at 750, not only do I have a quarterback that's going to be sitting in the divisional round probably playing a dome game, or it's Stafford versus the scary situation would be the Stafford versus the Niners outcome. But you're probably in a dome with Goff against the Cowboys. Maybe you're playing from behind. Maybe Easy's having his wet dream fulfilled, and they're just dominating the Cowboys. And cereal's extra soggy. But no, I think the idea here was to pair them. So I did start by saying I'm either going to go Flacco Stroud or I'm going to go Stafford Goff, and I ended up landing on. I wanted to go Baker or Hurts. I just couldn't get there. Just a lot of question marks on both sides. So Goff plus 750 seemed like the most mispriced guy, actually.
Really?
When I compare, yeah, I do.
See, I'm seeing what Easy's saying in the chat, and that and that if they do get going and go on a run, the Lions, they're gonna have to do it with some of the ground game. Now, your point of they get in some high scoring games. Yeah, I could see that. I just I don't know. I think maybe a little more balance.
All right. Well, let me finish the point then, because I do think it's important to remember last year a tremendous amount of 7 300-yard games in the playoffs last year. How many of those games happened in the first round? 4 of them. Only 300-yard games the rest of the way. You think about some of those games that your quarterback Jalen Hurts had, right? Very low totals. Some of that was they were up big, outdoors element. I mean, even Mahomes had some low total games. This is more about the fact that the Lions are going to be playing in good weather or inside. The Rams will be good weather or inside. I think there's something to that when you have this time of year, there's weather. And when you look at some of the outputs from quarterbacks over the last couple of years, like it's not that much of an outlier for a good quarterback, for like say Joe Burrow, to throw for 200 yards. And so I wanted to identify the situation more than I disagree with what Easy's saying. If the Lions proceed far in these playoffs, it's because Goff is slinging the rock. I think the running game's going to help him. The running game's going to help him finish the job, but Goff has to be there for them to go on a run. That's some beta shit, Easy.
Well, maybe
What?
Why is that a beta shit to say?
Because it's incredibly improbable to go on a run without your quarterback leading it. Even on teams who weren't quarterback first teams, Eli Manning 2007, Joe Flacco before with his Ravens team, they had to pat. They were the ones that were all of a sudden looking elite. I mean, even Matt Ryan in his year, he poked his fucking dumbass head up to have a good postseason. I just think you have to. Especially in this NFC, I don't think you're going to get there just running the ball. Not against those defenses.
Mac, let's talk about the next, and chat. Keep firing away. Like to hear what you guys are getting into. Most rushing yards. What are you doing here? What do you like in this market?
Yeah, I think everybody will hop on plus 175 with McCaffrey. That'll be boring, so I'm not going to give that out. What if let's go to Kansas City? Their passing attack is not that good. They're struggling. They're going to play in a cold game on Saturday. I would assume if they get by the Dolphins, it's going to be cold again in Buffalo the following week. They're going to have to run the ball and rely on their defense. Let's go Pacheco.
Yeah.
I like him 15-1. I like that. I like that price as well. And I know Lamar's been better with his arm this year. But I think when in doubt, it's going to be hard in the postseason. Quarterbacks go back to what got them there, their elite skills. I like Lamar as well at 18-1. I was looking at Josh Allen, but I gave him out for passing yards. So Lamar 18-1 is and Pacheco at 15-1.
So, as you know, Sean, I've been very high on the Chiefs in best ball season for the playoffs. I do think it's a little concerning how seemingly public they are of a side in this weather spot, but it tees up beautifully. The Miami defense is ripe to get run all over. And like Max said, I do think that we might be looking at a situation, and we'll talk more about this when we're discussing the MVP. I don't know if it's so sure. I'm not so sure this year if Mahomes is the lock, if Kansas City is the team.
So wait, you're saying you think if
I think they could make this, like they could go on a run and it could end up being lower scoring games. Yeah. Pacheco's getting a couple touchdowns a game. I mean, again, we looked at the numbers. There's not a lot that stands out. Last year, Sean, what do you think the rushing leader was last year?
Rushing leader
last year in the playoffs.
Not looking at it.
It was Christian McCaffrey.
Yes.
I'll give it away, but what do you think that number is?
Oh, it's I just looked at it. 238.
238. And for reference, Kenny Gainwell had 181. Travis Etienne in 2 games had 171.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon had 163. Hold on. That wasn't in order. There was a Pacheco in there too. He had
Pacheco was 197. No, just kind of getting to your point there, or just the the bigger picture overall. Like these long shots, Christian McCaffrey at plus 175, but I mean he wasn't plus 175, and they didn't even make it to the Super Bowl, and they had a bye, right? Or wait,
no, the Eagles had the bye.
Yes, you're right. They did play in that first week. They had 3 games.
Still, point being, I do think that the reason that Kansas City is attractive, again, you start. What would the path look like? Does it make sense that they would turn into these weird ground and pound games? Like, would Kansas City want to run the ball and slow the clock down against Miami? Yes.
Yeah.
Would Kansas City want to try to do the same thing against Buffalo right now?
Yeah.
Yes. And maybe when you get to the Baltimore scenario, you say, I don't know, maybe this is the game you mix it up. But I think to that point, I can find myself to a run first situation. So here's what I'm going to do. Isaiah Pacheco, as Max said, at 15-1 is a great price.
That's your chalk play.
That's my chalk play.
Okay.
My long shot play. Well, we just saw it happen. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, they still trust this motherfucker. If Pacheco goes down, he's 250-1.
Oh,
250-1. I was
going to see how long it would take for us to give out a 3-digit odd bet. Ryan, you cashed the under.
I have a reasonable one, but I have a feeling he's on your card, and I didn't want to take him. So I'm going to pair those 2 guys together.
Kenny Gainwell is a great example. And if he maybe gets a couple more runs in the Super Bowl, he wins that. So I don't think that's crazy at all.
Well, and just for full disclosure, because if I'm doing the Chiefs thing where I'm just taking all the Chiefs, I think you probably want to put McKinnon in there too, just because the price is so strong. And I believe let me pull it up, but I believe he's 150-1. But yeah, I mean, I think if you take all of them with the idea that they're going to run for a ton of yards, and if one of the guys can suck up all the yards, you're up, Sean.
Yes, I'm up. I
didn't want to take one of your plays.
Well, Ryan, that one that I said to you, that was a long shot, but I couldn't.
Oh no, McKinnon's also 250-1, so you can very easily sprinkle both of them in addition to the 15-1.
I mean, I think the any of those Chiefs running backs for these different awards, even rushing TDs, receiving TDs, we'll get to those, are very, very interesting. I mean, if you think about it, like last year, Travis Kelce won the receiving touchdowns with 4. I mean, with 4, one of these, Pacheco having 3, 2 or 3 receiving touchdowns in a game randomly, and then them doing it again down the lines, not bonkers at all.
And real quick for Easy and the Lion, like the people were saying that Gibbs is 18-1, Montgomery's 25-1. To me, that's maybe you pick one of them if you like that angle, but even then, I think the idea that maybe it's a touchdowns market, but I think the idea that Gibbs and/or Montgomery leads the playoffs in rushing yards, I would prefer to have a different position.
Yeah, I mean, prices. For me, it's too much of a balanced approach between those 2 guys, and like, hey, maybe one gets hot or the other gets injured. You need like crazier odds in my mind for it to pay off. I'm going my chalky play. I couldn't really get to any of these shorter odds ones that I really like. So,
by the way, shocked to see Kyron Williams was 13-1.
Yeah,
totally doesn't line up to the Stafford price.
No, and it doesn't really make sense. I like Kyron Williams, but at 13-1, man, like
Singletary 850.
Yeah, okay. even DeAndre Swift, who I like as a running back, I can't get there. It doesn't make sense price wise. For me, Josh Allen price wise at 35-1 does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Especially when you think about that first game, it's going to be ugly, super cold. And now that they have the 2 seed, decent chance they're going to be playing a number of games in weather. And I think Josh Allen, you saw it in that Miami game when his back is against the wall, he's going to say, fuck it, I'm going to run. His last 2 games, he has 26 carries, which is insane. Like, he's getting more yards than James Cook. So if the Bills can get to that 3 or even 4 games, the Super Bowl, and he's getting like 70 yards a game, him winning it at 35-1 to me is a very reasonable play. And if he has a bye week, let's say they win the AFC, they have a bye week, they go to the Super Bowl. He's well rested going into the Super Bowl. He's going to carry the ball 20 fucking times. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't see him backing down. I mean, last night we had Adam Pelletier on the show, and he was like getting rock hard talking about Josh Allen running Oklahoma drills. And that's how he attacks it. He attacks it like a running back. So I think that's a great price for a guy that's probably going to be the leading rusher on a 2 seed. I think the formula there is strong. And then staying in the AFC, Gus Edwards right now is the guy getting the most carries on the team with the number 1 seed, a team with a pretty good defense, a team that has had some 4th quarter leads. And the only time they fucked him up is when they've turned the ball over and got more aggressive when they didn't have to be. So they could sit on the ball if with these leads, the spreads would suggest it. The odds would suggest it. He's 45-1. He's leading them right now in attempts on the number 1 seed. What like that to me is kind of crazy. I don't think he's that like efficient of a guy, but I'm just trying to price it out like carries wise and let the randomness fall where it may. But I want the most cracks at the bites of the apple.
It's interesting, and I'll be slightly jumping ahead for me, but I found that my strategy for these markets is looking at teams. And so even the idea of pairing Gus Edwards 45-1 with Lamar at what was that 15-1 Mac?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
15-1. No. Lamar was 18-1.
18-1. You pair those two. It's not a horrible strategy. Again, this is a run first team. They're the 1 seed. And again, you look at their matchups and you think about who they could potentially face in the 2nd round. Well, it's a bunch of teams that generally struggle to stop the run on the road, especially Cleveland, Houston. Maybe a longer shot wins. I think it's very easy to look at that for this team, and I'll give away my rushing touchdowns.
Oh, Ryan, before you do,
there we go.
What do you mean? Oh, you have another long shot?
No. Before you do that, people are going to be rushing to their phones, to the website to order some Little C's. It is Super Wild Card. Not Sunday, not Saturday, weekend. That means Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We got football. We got pizza. I don't know what I love more, football or pizza. It's close. I don't want to live in a world without either one of them. And thankfully we don't have to. You get that buttery, pretzel-y crust. Pretzel-y, is that an adjective? I'm not sure. It becomes an adjective when you're talking about Little C's and that delicious pepperoni pizza. Love Little C's. Perfect for Super Wild Card weekend. You can get it delivered or our in-store pizza portal pickup. Grab some friends and enjoy a few slices during the game. Little C's, pizza. And we're also brought to you by Cut. Love Cut. If you guys are like me, you've had situations where you have a friend and you want to bet them, and it's always like, oh hey, let's put some action on the Eagles Bucks games. Trust me, as an Eagles fan, I have an avalanche of mentions where people chirping at me left and right. Put your money where your mouth is, and you can actually do that. Cut is the first app designed to really put your money where your mouth is. That's their catchphrase, and it's great. It's legal in 40 states. And it's just a fun way to get action against your friends, buddies, coworkers, people you don't like, people you want to go at it with. And it's pretty cool. Fully customizable odds. And then obviously, since you're betting another person, there's no traditional house involved. You're going head to head. Obviously, it makes it a much cheaper way to get down on action as well. They have leaderboards. They even have a rewards program. Who doesn't love a good rewards program? I'm going to be posting up a Cut bet for myself for the Eagles against the Bucks. So if you want to bet me against bet me and bet against the Philadelphia Eagles, you're going to have that opportunity over on Cut. First things first, though, sign up over at cut.com. Use that promo code SGPN. Get that 10% deposit bonus. That's KUTT. BetterHelp.com, promo code SGPN. Kramer, you were chomping at the bit. What do you got for us?
I was also going to say, I feel like as I've gotten older, when I see the smaller deposit bonus, I trust it more. I like that. Can I post some bets?
Well, Ryan, yes. I think for our NFL picks, we got to pick a cut game to go head to head on.
Okay.
What I don't know. I don't want to know your picks. Although by doing the show with you for 12 years now, I have an idea of what sides you might be on. Maybe we can get Serial to take our Green Bay action.
I like the Cowboys this week.
Oh, okay.
It's early. It's still early.
He'll be on the chalk.
If there's a favorite, Ryan will be on it.
Yeah.
That's just my that's only for college basketball purposes. I don't use that bit for the NFL. I was jumping ahead because what I was describing and talking to you guys about. Mac took Lamar, you took Gus Edwards in the rushing yards market. I love it in the rushing touchdowns market. And interestingly enough, the prices are similar but flipped. Gus is 12-1, a little bit more on my shorter. I don't understand how they have 6 people with shorter odds. It doesn't make a ton of sense. He's been a touchdown hawk all season. They're not going to change the way they play. Again, you look at the matchups that they're going to potentially face. A lot of teams that allow you to run the ball, and then I'm just going to pin that with Lamar Jackson because if they're having that kind of postseason, give me the 35-1 on Lamar. I mean, again, what we saw the Eagles did, right? The Eagles had 9 touchdowns across 3 guys. Yeah. Could you see a very similar situation again? Had the bye week, 1 less game, still got there. Had
fresh legs.
Well, and had some matchups where, frankly, they just dominated so badly that 3-4 rushing touchdowns is very reasonable. So my strategy for this one, and I think as I looked at this more, is there a chance that I circle back and maybe scoop up? See, Pacheco had shorter odds here. That was also how I lined this up. But so officially taking both the Ravens, Edwards at 12-1, long shot Lamar at 35-1.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that? Am I looking at this market wrong? How is he 12-1 for most rushing touchdowns and 35-1? Or sorry, yeah,
no, that's right.
No, sorry, he's 45-1 for most rushing yards.
Better.
I mean, I get it, but it shouldn't be that big of a difference.
Yeah, I mean, what was Josh Allen's yards number? 15.
Josh Allen rushing yards 35-1. Yeah,
that feels the same. Like I understand why Josh Allen has a longer yardage number than touchdowns.
Yeah, because they use it.
But the relationship there makes sense. The one with Lamar doesn't make sense. He's 45-1, or he's 18-1 in the rushing yards. Yeah, but he's 35-1 in the touchdowns. I think Josh Allen's 5-1. He's 35-1 in the rushing touchdowns market. That's not correct.
Something's off. I'm with you. I'm also on Lamar 35-1.
You son of a bitch.
No, I mean it's a good opportunity. They use him enough in the red zone, and all it takes him to get 4 rushing touchdowns in the playoffs. You win this at 35-1. Totally like it. And then of course my boy Jalen Hurts confirmed dog.
Oh boy.
I mean, he's their goal line back. Tampa Bay's defense suspect. Eagles go on a run. Look out. Jalen Hurts 11-1.
They have a good run defense though.
No,
I'm hearing they could be the first team to squashbuckle the tush push.
Based on what?
They got the meat inside.
Okay.
By the way, Sean, I know we didn't discuss this yet, but you did at some point react to the clip of former linebacker of the New York Football Giants, Carl Banks, talk about how he would just hit Jalen Hurts. He would jump over the line and hit Jalen Hurts in the face until the refs called something.
Yes.
You did see how that happened in the game.
Someone jumped over.
Bobby Arcarica jumped over and hit him in the face. That was just. I thought it was good. You sent the clip and it actually happened. So you're totally out on the Eagles. I get it.
What? Jalen Hurts had a rushing touchdown against the Tampa Bay Bucks. I was pulling that up.
Oh, I see.
So let's go. Mac, what do you got?
I want to give Josh Allen out for the tush push reason. I mean, we found another quarterback that can get the tush push in. He's more of the tush push lunge now, I guess, is the new version of it, and kind of carry him. I don't know what the hell that was. That's kind of chalky. Let's say the Lions go on a run. Let's go Jahmyr Gibbs at 12-1. They're gonna, like you said, fast track. They're going to play in the dome back to back. I like Gibbs. They're going to find a way to give him the ball in the red zone. And for my long shot, let's go. We'll go 35-1 with Debo. Debo, they find ways to get Debo the ball in the playoffs. I just remember him against the Rams in that NFC Championship game 2 years ago, running reverses and stuff. And maybe everybody loads up for McCaffrey and they sneak some rushing attempts for Debo.
Yeah, I think you need like 3 or 4 is what you probably need to get to. He could do that.
Yeah,
they like to get. I mean,
well, and maybe
also there's going to be some blowouts, I think, in the NFC.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I guess the only thing that would scare you is those bullshit like bubble screen tunnel screens where it's like, oh, it's right on the line. Is that a rush? Is that a catch?
Let's get Brock Purdy a cheap passing touchdown.
Pad his stats. No way you're winning MVP, Brock. Kick it over to most receiving yards. My chalk. Now I understand that first game is going to be tough for them, but I still think if the Chiefs are going to go on a run, their offense goes through Rashee Rice. Last game, 5 for 127. It really is the most capable receiver. We've seen Kelsey kind of fall off, and yeah, I think in this week off. Now technically they didn't have a week off, but they rested all their starters. It's a lot of like just working up stuff for Rashee Rice. He's kind of my favorite guy on the Chiefs fantasy wise. I think he could get a ton of looks. He's a young guy, explosive, tough matchup. So I'm in on Rashee Rice, even at plus 750. But really, to me, again, the long shots in this market are pretty frisky. I'll give out 2 real quick here. Cooper Kupp, 50-1. I mean, Cooper Kupp? He's going up against the Rams secondary and then the Cowboys, possibly. I think those are both great matchups. Again, if the Rams play 3 games, Cooper Kupp could have a shit ton of receiving yards at 50-1. That's bonkers. And then Khalil Shakir. I mean, the last game we played, he had 105 receiving yards. I think his number should be way closer to Stephon Diggs. I know Diggs is 8-1 and he's 75-1. I don't think they should be equal, but I think Khalil should maybe be 40-1 and Diggs 20-1, something like that. That 75 and 8-1 is way too big of a difference. I think in the since they fired their OC, Shakir has been a bigger part of the offense. So I like Kupp and Shakir. I honestly I gave out Rice, but the long shot stuff to me is kind of more interesting. Kramer, what do you like?
It does seem like I should just stack with the quarterbacks I like, and I think similar angle. Amon-Ra St. Brown is tricky. His price is very short. I saw Easy in the chat was able to get a 10-1. I think DK is at 650 right now. So for the interest of being not taking a plus 650 favorite, I think you're right, Sean. The Stafford guys, you can sprinkle a quarter unit on each one of those at 30 and 50-1. Josh Reynolds is 150-1. Josh Reynolds and Jared Goff both have a revenge spot in the first week against the Los Angeles Rams, where they'll be playing in a dome.
Yeah.
Josh Reynolds is running the deep stuff that everyone dreamed about Jameson Williams running. And frankly, if Laporta's out, someone's got to fill the role.
Sorry, Ryan. I hate to interrupt, but there was a moment. I don't know what the time code is at. Yeah, but there's a moment where Mac and I almost synchronized drinking. Where we both.
Josh will pull a screenshot of that.
We both went for our whiskey at the exact same moment. But I'm with you. I like Reynolds in this market, and I think I didn't get to him in the most receiving touchdowns, but he's going to be interesting, especially against the Rams defense. Maybe 2 touchdowns, maybe a cheap DFS play. But we don't know what Khalif Raymond's status is. But yeah, I like the angle.
So yeah, kind of like sprinkling the stack. Unfortunately, I didn't want to lock up the plus 650. So I was like, all right, let me get a little different here. I know I said I didn't love CJ Stroud's path.
Okay.
But let's just say Nico Collins goes off in that first game. And he has a good enough second game. He's 35-1. He was second in the NFL in this season in receiving yards. sorry, third, fourth, fifth. Oh, I got lied. He was the 8th this year in receiving yards.
Still impressive.
And most importantly, what do we see in those last couple weeks? Propensity for the big play.
Yeah, when he's out there, Stroud is gonna unleash a cannon and try and hit him.
I would say that if you're a Lions fan, you should be locking up Amon-Ra St. Brown to go with your Jared Goff bet. But I'll give you Nico Collins, and then I'm going to sprinkle those other guys. Reynolds 150, Kupp and Nakua 30 and 50 to 1. I don't understand why Nakua is 30 to 1 and Kupp's 50.
No, I don't. That's another like pricing thing over on DraftKings, promo code SGP, that I don't really understand. Like they should be. I mean, I would maybe make Nakua a slight favorite, but man, Kupp when they went on their Super Bowl run, I mean, he was the Super Bowl MVP. Like I don't know, it's a little bonkers to be that short sighted on him in my mind. Mac, what do you got receiving yards? Who do you like here?
Yeah, I like the Kupp 50 to 1. Been there, done that. Love Shakir as well. It's 75 to 1 with Davis out. Who knows what the fuck Diggs is going to do as well. I mean, he's so up and down. What if I go to a former LA Ram receiver here that's on the Baltimore Ravens, a veteran in Odell Beckham? It seems like whenever the Ravens are in a big game, he goes after he targets him more and more. What happened? We got some.
Keep talking.
I like Odell Beckham, 130 to 1, and then another one I like McCaffrey, 150 to 1. He's way down there, because I think everybody's going to load up on Debo, and then they'll load up on McCaffrey for the rushing. So give me McCaffrey with the receiving odds. I think we lost them.
No, we're still here.
We're still here.
Oh, you're still here?
We're working on getting our video, but
everybody can just look at me. Cheers.
Let's just break down Mac's background here, kind of hoops background. Appreciate that. No, going back to your Christian McCaffrey receiving yards, what was that? 150 to 1?
Way down there, 150 to 1.
Yeah.
He's way down there.
No, I mean, he's certainly pretty interesting because again, they get him on a couple of those screens.
Yeah, all
it takes is a few of those to break, and some of the matchups they're playing against some poor tackling linebackers. Why would you not get involved in the passing game? And he's 150 to 1. I'm trying to see what I'll pull up what he did last year. Yeah, not crazy, but still, it's 150 to 1 for Christian McCaffrey getting it done on the ground.
Like the volume's going to be there too.
Rob in the chat saying, "I feel this is a bit." No, this is not a bit. Rob saying that Mac brought up Odell and they immediately distanced themselves. Well, Ryan doesn't like to bring up the boat trip, but
that was strange. We are being attacked right now. This could be the TCE chat. It's like Fight Club. They're doing
it's probably Colby behind the scenes.
Oh yeah, probably accidentally logging into StreamYard.
Hacker Colby.
Kramer, any what do you think about Odell?
When we were looking at the markets ahead of the show, myself and producer Josh, and he brought up Odell. Certainly, maybe it's more interesting for touchdowns, but there is a guy every once in a while in the postseason where it's a little bit out of left field. This would be crazy though, right?
Odell,
the lights shining bright.
No, the
boat trip turned out to be a hoax. He's not.
He was good in that Rams run.
Yeah, he really was. I mean, kind of a big reason why they ended up winning that game. He does seem to show up like when, hey, a lot of people tuning in, and the game you would look to if you think he's going to go on a run is that Rams game in overtime, 4 for 97. Also went off against the Bengals, 4 for 116. Kind of quiet those past couple games, but you're right. Like big time games, he does seem to go out of his way to get involved, and likely is fun and does seem like the main guy, especially for touchdowns. But yardage wise, I could definitely see Odell.
Yeah, and I guess I get it's likely Flowers. I just wonder how much they're going to pass the ball. I know it's cute. Like Lamar had a great year passing the ball. We cashed that Lamar to be the leader of the AFC North in passing yards at 12 to 1. That felt pretty good, Sean. Just got that. That just hit the account. That would be the angle too. Like he wants to show something. like he decides that no, we're not going to run the ball, even though we're going to have great matchups running the ball in a lot of these games. We're not going to run the ball. We're going to let me pass the ball. I I like the Ravens, and the Super Bowl logo is purple. Remember, there's a conspiracy.
They knew, Ryan. They knew. Hey, maybe you want to see the Super Bowl. Maybe you want to see some of these playoff games. Whatever game you're trying to go to, you got to go to Game Time first. Game Time CO or download the Game Time app. Use that promo code SGPN. First new accounts, $20 off your first purchase. Again, terms apply, but come on, redeem that code SGPN, $20 off. Got playoff football, college basketball. I mean, a lot of these college. And if you're dabbling in the NBA, there are affordable seats, especially for some of these regular season NBA games. You want to take the lady out to an event, maybe go to the theater, concerts, comedy, whatever you're doing outside the house that requires a ticket. Game Time has you covered. Download the Game Time app. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. GameTime.co and use the promo code SGPN. And of course, also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets. Love me some Hall of Fame Bets. You can win bigger by betting smarter. Got the optimized parlays, the deep data button. It makes research so much easier, especially if you're putting together some of these player props. It's my go-to when working in the lab, Ryan, as the kids say, getting ready for the props episode. Love me some Hall of Fame Bets. Use code SGPN, get 50% off your first month. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com. Mac, we're talking receiving touchdowns for the 2023 NFL playoffs. Who do you like in this market? Again, interesting market for me because I think even my chalk play, I'll tease it. My chalk play is 45-1 because I like the long shot stuff is just so much more interesting to me. What do you got here? What do you like?
How is Laporta 17-1 when he's as banged up as he is?
I know. You're talking to a guy guys like me who accidentally drafted him when we did our best ball. I'm like, oh, this is such a great spot for Laporta, and then I totally forgot he's probably not playing in the first game. So don't play Sam Laporta in this market.
Yeah, no doubt. I got my chalk one's actually pretty a long shot as well. It's gonna be, where'd he go? George Kittle, 35-1, tight end.
Okay.
Purdy loves looking for him in the red zone. I think the Niners are going to go far. Obviously, the NFC's down. 35-1 for let's get deeper on this for a long shot.
I like that, a long shot.
Well, and real quick while you're pulling up your long shot.
Yeah.
Last year in the postseason, Kelsey had it with 4 in 3 games. Dalton Schultz came in second place with 3 touchdowns, and they only played 2 games. MVS had 3 games played, and he had 2 touchdowns. Like, if a couple of things break right, imagine what MVS would have been at what his price to lead the playoffs in receiving touchdowns. So you look at some of the guys who had receiving touchdowns in the playoffs. It's
just from doing the FFPC playoff challenge for so many years.
Yeah.
You realize that there's always a couple guys who it's like everyone picks the same roster. It's like, how could you possibly pick any receiver but this guy? And it's like, well, all you need is for 2 games for the number 2 guy to have a better game than the number 1 guy. And all of a sudden, bang.
Yep. That's all it takes.
That's it.
So what do you like here for a long shot, Mac?
Let's go 100-1. Everybody likes Kincaid, the young buck.
Yeah.
Give me Dawson Knox, a backup tight end for the Bills. Let's go. The number 2 tight end. I'm a sucker for the tight ends.
Oh, love me some tight ends.
Yeah. So
I'm a big fan of Mac. He gets the tight end love. I mean, Dawson Knox getting 3 or 4 receiving touchdowns at 100-1. Yeah. That seems very doable.
He had 2 against New England 2 years ago in that opening round. So hopefully they target him in the cold game here on Sunday.
Yes, love it. And I'm gonna go with the tight end for my quote unquote chalk play, but really I don't even know if it's 45-1 for David Njoku. Now, David Njoku could win this in 2 games in the Flacco era, which has only been a few games. He has an insane run, including 4 touchdowns. He had a 10 catch 104 game against the Bears. He had 6 for 134 against the Jets. He already had a 2 touchdown game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, him to get 2 touchdowns in Njoku in the opening game against the Texans, that feels relatively sane. And then maybe he gets 1 or 2 more down the line. Love David Njoku. Flacco really seems locked into him. And then we were talking about the long shot stuff. Give me Jerick McKinnon 100-1. He went on a run, if you remember, at the end of 2022, where he had like 6 games in a row with a receiving touchdown. He's had 13 receiving touchdowns in the last 2 years. I still think there's a lot of questions as far as the Chiefs running back rotation, who they're going to use, where. Like it still seems kind of murky. 100-1, Ryan. Like I know you like Pacheco, and you can even talk me into Pacheco. I don't know what his price is. I'm sure it's pretty similar.
Snap counts for week 17, 93% Pacheco. He's healthy.
Yeah.
After being out for a couple weeks, they're a little bit indicating like he's the guy. But McKinnon, he's yet to see more than 45% in a game. So, I mean, I don't hate the angle because I think again you're playing the variance. If they're going to play 3 games or 4 games,
you know what? Then I'll toss in Pacheco at 65-1.
But it's no for receiving stuff.
Yeah,
I think I would probably not take Pacheco.
All right, leave Pacheco.
I think you're right to do that. I'm just saying the opportunity.
Well, and they like him in the red zone. So I'll stick with just McKinnon. But Njoku at 45-1. I love that. Love it. Kramer, what do you got?
Chief Njoku. It feels chalky, but we were reviewing some of our futures, and it's like, Christian McCaffrey, offensive player of the year, 20-1.
Ka-ching.
Travis Kelce, most receiving touchdowns, 20-1.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
It's stupid, but yeah.
And then for my long shot, I'm gonna take I really do also like Dawson Knox at 100-1, but I'll take a stab, another NFC angle, because I do think the passing attacks are going to have a more opportunity in the NFC. If the Eagles Bucks game turns into a little bit of a shootout, I want a piece of Mike Evans.
How dare you?
2 games he could get enough receiving touchdowns. He's 35-1, so it's kind of a baby long shot. But then I'm going to pair him with Dallas Goedert.
Okay.
The receivers are banged up.
Yeah.
It's a touchdown prop. He's 75-1, Sean.
Wow.
So again, we're going to end up with one of these guys advancing through to the next round, hopefully sitting on a touchdown or 2. I mean, could Mike Evans get 4 touchdowns in 2 games? Absolutely.
Not against the Eagles defense. And he has to get to that second game, right?
What do you mean?
Defense is back.
Who in the secondary is stopping Mike Evans?
No, Darius Slay is back. Avonte Maddox. Look out, Ryan.
I mean, they just got shredded up by Tyrod.
Well, yeah, Tyrod. I mean, that's a crafty veteran. They got Baker's number. You inspired me.
Oh, really?
I'm going to toss in Julio Jones 75-1. Fuck everyone.
Wait, he's the same price as Dallas Goedert?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Julio Jones won revenge game against the Tampa Bay Bucks. Look out.
Maybe.
And he already had a 2 touchdown game, and they like him in the red zone. Now, I actually was betting this.
Sean, you should take him.
I was
and
1
Goddard.
game off on his 2 touchdown game, which was so annoying. I would have won $8,000. But Julio Jones 75-1, most receiving touchdowns. Honestly, I'll probably just.
You're gonna take Goddard too, because you're a homer.
Yeah,
it's also 75.
No. All right, Dallas Goedert 75-1.
Talked him right into it.
What?
Honestly, I think the more fun way for some of these guys might be just play their 2 touchdowns in a game. And we'll have to compare that when we do the prop show. But Julio Jones, Dallas Goedert, again, crazy long shots. But yeah, put a pizza bet on that, right?
For Mike Evans, though, if you mechanically parlayed his 2 touchdowns,
that wouldn't. You're better off betting the.
Well, what is it? What was the price on the last game? Like 4-1.
Yeah, because his prices are so low.
If you mechanically put parlay 4-1 and 4-1 is going to get you what 20-25-1.
Yeah, and do the math on all these, of course, because some of the like Njoku, I don't know. I'll look at see if his 2 touchdown price is out, but it might not be that far off. And I think you probably do need a 2 touchdown game to win this. So if you like their first matchup, maybe you are better off just firing on that instead. Moving over to Super Bowl MVP. This is just why the NFL is great. There's just so many things to bet on, so many ways to get down. There are Super Bowl anytime touchdowns. Why not just put Gatorade color out? Just say fuck it, right? Come on, give me Gatorade color. Why not?
I mean, Nat, why? Yeah, you're going to limit the amount I can bet on it anyway.
Yeah, come on.
Just put it out now. Allow me to bet multiple colors over the course of the next couple of weeks as I create various narratives on which team will be there.
So David Njoku 2 touchdowns is actually 12-1. So I do think him to lead the playoffs at 45-1 is a much better bet, because if he gets 2 touchdowns in that first game, probably winning the game, and then you got to love his odds after that, right?
Yeah, but if you're mechanically parlaying that,
I guess you would also parlay it with the Browns money line, so you could get that price up. But either way, Njoku most receiving touchdowns 45-1. Love it. Mac
just 168-1, a 12-1 with a 12. So if you went 2 touchdowns, bang bang, back to back weeks. Let's just say I
was saying 2 touchdowns plus Browns money line. Plus take that. And
what's the Browns money line right now?
It's probably like 150
minus 150.
I'll see over on DraftKings, so promo code SGP minus 142.
That's
right?
20-1.
Okay. All right. Yeah. 6 one way, half a dozen the other. Mac, Super Bowl MVP. What do you like?
Josh Allen. It feels like it's destiny, man. Like, hey, they got the late bye, just like the Bucks did a couple years ago. They figured things out. They hit their low point in Philly. I like Josh Allen. I think they're the team of destiny. I like teams that have to win that last game to get in. Kramer, when your Giants did it. I mean,
great point.
I that Sunday night game, man. I like they played like shit. They lose that game all the time in the past with the Bills. They found a way to get over the hump where they made mistake after mistake. I like Josh Allen. That's my pick. And I'm seeing him 8-1?
8-1, and then certainly better than the Bills Super Bowl price, which I think is like plus 650. I don't see a way Bills win the Super Bowl without Josh Allen being MVP. Yeah. Like, if we're being realistic,
especially because he's got to beat Mahomes. He's finally got to dethrone Mahomes, and then potentially Lamar, and then the Niners or whoever it is.
And obviously it is a 1-game award. So you do see guys pop their head up on the defensive side every once in a while with like a crazy strip sack defensive touchdown, that kind of stuff. But the narrative of him probably having to beat Mahomes, knocking out these other quarterbacks, the fact that it's the Bills, the fact that he's the guy, the narrative is going to just be so there for him. So yeah, I totally see the case, and it's a better way, I think, probably to get on the Bills instead of just betting the Bills to win it all. Are there any long shots you like?
I mean, if you guys like the Lions, anybody that likes the Lions, Jared Goff, that narrative would definitely be there. Like you said, this is such a award narrative. A narrative award. So you take your pick. I don't really see Purdy. I mean, I see Purdy at 5-1. Get the fuck out. Yeah. I don't see that happening. We saw him last time. He was right there at the front and center for MVP, basically 10-1 if they got there.
Yeah, let me see, because McCaffrey was my chalk play. Of course, I think the 49ers suck. This is just it's my fiduciary responsibility to point out value in the gambling market. And a lot of people will preface their episodes by saying this is not financial advice. This actually is financial advice. If you're looking to throw away money on the 49ers, when I was picking this out, I saw Christian McCaffrey 12-1. And Purdy was, I think 6-1, or sorry, not 6-1. Purdy was. Hold on, let me pull this up again.
I know Purdy we're not taking the. Go ahead.
No, Purdy was 4-1, and McCaffrey was 12-1. So the fact that Christian McCaffrey is 3x the odds to Brock Purdy, I think is just a misprice by the sportsbook, because when this actually comes to fruition and we actually have this game, he is not going to be Brock Purdy's Super Bowl odds are not going to be 3x, or sorry, Christian McCaffrey's odds are not going to be 3 times Brock Purdy's if the 49ers make it to the Super Bowl. Like, it's just not.
No, and so I was actually running some calculations while you guys were talking because I did pull out some numbers. And you're looking at it the right way. Like, where is the value lie? You know, quarterback relative to team future.
Well, and also Christian McCaffrey. You want to talk about narrative? Probably had a pretty decent case for a regular season MVP. He got hurt late. You know, Lamar balled out, deserves the award. But this is kind of a way that they can reward him, and they already gave him Offensive Player of the Year. So clearly, the voters, probably similar voters, like him enough. And how do they win the game without? I mean, also, you know what I was doing? I was pricing out the anytime touchdown scores and comparing it to the Super Bowl MVP. So this is again not a bet you should take, but they do have anytime touchdown score for the Super Bowl, and Christian McCaffrey is the odds-on favorite at +130. First off, the 49ers have to get to the Super Bowl. And then he's +130. So that means he's going to be like -350, -400.
But that's what he is.
No, that's what I'm saying.
And I actually did the math. So the math would be -125 and -300. I think pays +140.
Okay.
So it's not even this crazy bet. It doesn't make sense to make, like, to me, it's a multiplier bet. So you want to get big multipliers. So if you like long shots, maybe you fire at some of these markets.
Yeah.
You probably don't fire at chalk in these markets. That's the way I view it.
No. But, I mean, I think you can, like, if you're saying Mac, if you
all right,
like
I'm running numbers for the show tomorrow on these touchdown or at least for the prop show. I'm going to have some numbers.
That'll be fun.
But anyway, so basically you're using the benchmark of these are the Super Bowl odds. And immediately I exclude San Francisco, Pittsburgh because whatever, San Francisco and Miami because they have clear candidates, obvious candidates to take the award away from the quarterback. Now you look at the rest of the teams. CJ Stroud is the only guy with worse odds than his team. 50-1 for the Texans, 45-1 for Stroud. So you can't bet Stroud. That's a stupid bet. Might as well take the team and take all the other outs. Kansas City, next worst value in according to my calculations, Sean. Mahomes 11-1, Chiefs 10-1, and Kelsey to me is a legit threat to an award. The narrative I laid out, Pacheco maybe.
Well, this isn't an audience voted award, right? Because the Swifties would steamroll him into the Super Bowl MVP.
But that's even more reason to take Kansas City at 10-1, not Mahomes at 11-1.
Yeah.
So next up on the value chart, Jordan Love, surprisingly bad value at 100-1 because the Packers are 90-1.
Yeah.
I don't think you want to lock that in. And
no, it's not worth I mean, again, if the Packers won the Super Bowl, he does probably get it, but it's not worth losing your 90-1.
And I would say Jalen Hurts at 20-1 and the Eagles at 18-1. Probably a similar situation. I know he's most likely the guy, but that's too close of a gap for me.
It's not. Doesn't make sense.
All right. Next, a big jump now because then it's Dak 9-1, Dallas 750. We're not going to even talk about that. Lamar at 380, even and his team being plus 310 is actually decent value. Josh Allen next, another big step up here, and then Jared Goff. He was mentioned earlier. Similar value to Josh Allen. The biggest value on the board, though.
Ryan, can I jump in with my long shot?
Yes.
Joe Flacco, 55-1 for Super Bowl MVP, and the Browns are 30-1 to win the Super Bowl. Come on, are you fucking kidding me? This is a story that writes itself. Joe Flacco, Delaware's own. I mean, he's almost double the odds. No way the Browns win the Super Bowl and Joe Flacco doesn't get it. Yeah, sure, their defense could do something crazy, but it's almost double the price. It's great value.
My thought is you could like Myles Garrett. Probably going to be the defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
Which draws more attention to him, but it also gives him an award already. The value,
and they don't have to worry about boning him for a comeback player of the year. They can sleep easy at night knowing that DeMar Hamlin deserves the award. They'll give it to him, and then they can give Joe Flacco Super Bowl MVP.
The better question is who outside of Myles Garrett and Joe Flacco can reasonably win this award?
I mean, you could
Cooper,
maybe Amari Cooper, maybe Njoku, but they would have to have such bonker games.
So sprinkle.
If you get your Flacco MVP, Super Bowl MVP to the window at 55-1, there's some very easy hedges. You can hedge with some of these player props that are actually probably they're not even true hedges. Like if you took Amari Cooper 2 touchdowns and Njoku 2 touchdowns, like guys on the offensive side that you're worried about, and then Myles Garrett 2 sacks. Like both things could happen. So you actually could create like a little middle.
Yeah, but just conceptually, if you like the Browns at 30-1, you love Flacco at 55.
Yes.
All right. So we skipped one team there.
What do you got, Ryan?
I'll slide in backwards, Sean, because I'll give you the long shot. I understand it's very easy to say, well, Cooper Kupp won an MVP before. Even more reason to take Stafford at 60-1. Certainly, this one again just popped off the screen. I think there's 4 clear value plays betting the MVP right now. If you like Buffalo, Detroit, Los Angeles, or Cleveland, you bet the MVP right now. That's the way I look at it. And so, I think, you know what though, for my actual favorite, because he's right there on the edge of having some value, just give me Lamar. I have them. We've knocked down the AFC North domino. We've knocked down the 1 seed domino. I now have AFC domino to go, and then we can cash some more tickets. But yeah, if you like Baltimore, certainly who's getting it.
Yeah, I mean,
double MVP, great story. Think of the incentives that I'm sure the agent worked into the contract.
Well, and I don't even think who's their biggest name on defense that you could see. I don't think it's not like they have a Ray Lewis or someone that they have a good defense, but they don't have anyone that's like a household name that you would have to worry about.
And sometimes you just gotta again, there's been times where defensive players have had great games and it doesn't matter. It's the quarterback. And this is a year where if it is Lamar, it's going to be Lamar. If it is Josh, it's going to be Josh. The only of the teams that I listed, like Jared Goff's probably the one that I worry about the most, because to me, he could Jared Goff play a bad game in a big game moment and they still get carried to a victory? Maybe. Yeah. Aiden Hutchinson does something crazy with that paint. He looks tougher. But yeah, my thesis is if you like those teams, Baltimore, Buffalo, Detroit, Rams, Cleveland, you probably want to look to the MVP market. That everyone else, it's not worth it. So sorry, Kansas City fans, you should just take the future. Which, by the way, if you're asking me gun to my head of all the actual futures, the Kansas City being 10-1 is crazy.
Yeah.
Look out, Ryan, your Chiefs gonna go on a run.
They're not my Chiefs. They're everyone's Chiefs.
Mac, any other future stuff you think is interesting before we wrap things up here?
No, I think we hit the nail on the head. My last thought was, I think everybody can tell this is a show that was produced by an Eagles fan, a Giants fan, and a Redskins fan.
Yeah,
because we didn't give out one, even though they're the 2 seed in the NFC.
Yeah, I don't know. They didn't make our sheets.
I mean, CeeDee Lamb, Pollard, obviously Dak. They just
Pollard
didn't
really
make the
sucks,
cut.
though.
Yeah,
Mac, who do you want? Who's the next coach? Mac's wish list for the Redskins.
Oh yeah.
I want whoever the GM picks. I know that sounds cliche.
I like that.
Company man already.
I want to hire the right GM, and then I want them to hire the right coach. I don't really care. I just want it to be done the right way, not fucking what's going on in Carolina right now that I saw for 20 years. So
you sound like me coming out of the Gettleman era.
Yeah. Choose the right guy.
Ryan already out on Wink Martindale.
What do you mean?
He was like a super fan 2 days ago.
I'm not out on Wink.
I think Wink's the problem.
No, I like Wink Martindale. I enjoyed his character. I think he's more of an alpha than Dable wanted as his coordinator. But I also think Wink's camp leaked information, and that's a bitch move. That's what I said. Please report facts next time you speak on these public airwaves. Yeah, the forensics will prove.
Wink Martindale. They say pressure breaks pipes. But really, Wink was the one cracking under pressure.
His DNA was all over the scene. Wink, wink.
Hey,
this shit writes itself.
Mac, appreciate you calling in. Of course, make sure you check out Mac on the College Basketball Experience, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, and of course, also the NFL Gambling Podcast, talking picks and props on there all day long. Kramer, when we are back, what's our schedule for tomorrow? We got the FFPC Challenge, a lot of
in
fun.
The morning, 11 a.m. Pacific, and then super wild card
picks. Oh man, cannot wait.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
We need the monster truck rally, super effect on our voice.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green. He's Ryan.
Say hi to the chat, Mac.
We'll do.
Kramer, let it ride.